Imagine a time when the night sky is completely void, a future where not a single star or galaxy is visible, leaving only an endless expanse of black. I want to take you on a somber exploration into this distant epoch, where the universe's expansion has swept the heavens clean and the final embers of starlight have died out. This isn't fiction. It's a narrative dictated by the laws of physics, a story of profound and quiet beauty that will stay with you long after it's told. When you gaze at the night sky, you're seeing far more than just specks of light. You're looking into the vastness of an infinite cosmos. For countless generations, stars have served as symbols of our highest hopes and aspirations. The very thought of a sky devoid of them, however, introduces a deeply unsettling prospect. What would it be like to exist in a reality where darkness, not light, is the ultimate ruler? Stars are woven into the very fabric of our cultural, scientific, and emotional identity, serving as more than mere celestial objects. Every star you see is a reminder of the universe's immense scale, and your own small but significant place within it. If the heavens were to go dark, the loss would extend far beyond just the disappearance of light, as astronomy itself, the discipline that gives us our cosmic bearings, would face an unimaginable setback. Do you think we can truly comprehend the full scope of such a loss? A sky without stars would compel you to re-examine human history and the very search for meaning. The grandeur of the stars has fueled our myths and legends for millennia, with ancient civilizations looking to the heavens for answers to their most profound questions. Without these celestial guides, the foundational narratives that have shaped our cultures would simply disappear into the void, leaving us to wonder what becomes of our legends when there are no constellations left to map them. Our culture is so deeply intertwined with skygazing that its absence would sever our connection to countless traditions. The night sky often acts as a mirror for our own reality, a vast expanse where we find solace and perspective. But if that mirror were to vanish, a starless night could become a powerful symbol of despair, its cosmic silence resonating in our own hearts. Without the starlight that has guided our dreams, you would have to discover entirely new ways to navigate the world, both practically and emotionally. On a more practical level, the sky has always been an indispensable tool for human exploration. For centuries, stars were the compass that guided mariners across oceans and helped travelers find their bearings in strange territories. Without these celestial markers in an increasingly complex world, you have to ask how we would navigate. The disappearance of these natural waypoints would likely drive us toward an even deeper reliance on technology, which could bring its own set of unpredictable outcomes. We already see a preview of this loss in our own time, as light pollution severely limits our view of the heavens. It's a startling fact that many people living in cities today have never witnessed the Milky Way because of overwhelming artificial light. Now, project that into a future where the problem isn't just a faint galaxy being obscured, but the complete absence of every single star. Such a profound disconnection from the cosmos could result in a hollower existence, one centered on everyday matters rather than the truly spectacular. Science provides a critical framework for comprehending the stars, revealing that these brilliant celestial bodies have a finite lifespan. As you learn about their life cycles, you come to understand that their bright light is temporary. This scientific knowledge forces us to consider what might happen if these cosmic beacons were to extinguish ahead of schedule. The fact that stars are born, live, and ultimately die serves as a powerful cosmic parallel, reminding you of the transient nature of your own existence. The ongoing expansion of the universe introduces an even more intricate dimension to this scenario. As galaxies recede from one another at incredible speeds, The inevitable outcome is a future sky with progressively fewer visible stars. You must consider how our entire perception of the cosmos would shift as the heavens gradually dim over eons. Since stars are the chroniclers of universal history, their departure would also erase the story of our own beginnings. Furthermore, we face more immediate threats to our view of the cosmos, such as climate change. Its consequences don't just affect life on our planet, they could also degrade our very ability to see the sky clearly. With continued global warming, you may be looking at a future where a clear night becomes an increasingly uncommon event. The crucial question is whether you are ready to sacrifice your connection to the night sky as a result of human activity. Our quest to find life beyond Earth would be profoundly impacted by a starless sky. Imagine what an empty heaven would mean for our comprehension of life's place in the universe. Space exploration might become a purely symbolic endeavor without distant stars to guide our way. The entire field of astrobiology, dedicated to seeking out other living beings, would be severely hampered by a cosmos that has ceased to provide any visible clues. Ultimately, the prospect of a starless sky forces you to contemplate your place in the universe and the critical need to protect our world. The fading of the night sky would signify much more than the loss of a beautiful sight. It would represent a loss of connection, history, and profound meaning. The real question is what actions we can take to prevent this, for the solution may be the very thing that guarantees future generations the chance to look up at the heavens and dream. Humanity's relationship with the sky is a thrilling story that has unfolded over centuries. From the earliest humans who looked to the heavens in wonder, to the modern scientists who probe the universe's limits, the sky has always mirrored our deepest hopes, anxieties, and curiosities. Have you ever considered how ancient cultures made sense of the glittering stars above? To them, every point of light could represent a tale, a deity, or perhaps a pre-written fate. In ancient Egypt, for instance, the Great Pyramids were meticulously aligned with specific constellations, demonstrating a profound link between the earthly and the celestial. Similarly, Mesopotamian cultures assigned great importance to the stars, creating an intricate astrological system to forecast events on Earth by tracking heavenly motions. Each constellation held a unique narrative, with deities seemingly directing human affairs from their cosmic perch. This enduring drive to interpret the heavens reveals that, from our earliest days, humankind has shared an intimate bond with the vast, mysterious ocean of the night. During the Middle Ages, the sky remained an object of both intense fascination and profound dread. With the Church holding sway over intellectual life, astronomy was frequently viewed as a challenge to established dogma. Despite this, visionaries such as Copernicus and Galileo started to question these long-held beliefs. When Galileo aimed his telescope skyward and saw moons circling Jupiter, he irrevocably altered our perception of the cosmos, making me wonder, how did people react upon discovering they were not at the center of everything? The arrival of the Enlightenment ushered in a completely new perspective. The heavens were no longer seen merely as a realm of myths and legends, but as a vast field for scientific inquiry, which gave rise to groundbreaking theories about gravity, light, and matter. It seemed that human curiosity was capable of unlocking the universe's greatest secrets. Yet even with these remarkable advances, the sky held on to its aura of wonder and mystery. What other secrets does the cosmos continue to conceal from us? As the 19th and 20th centuries unfolded, astronomy matured into a truly rigorous science. The development of more powerful telescopes and innovative technologies empowered us to venture far beyond our own solar system, leading to the discovery of exoplanets, remote galaxies, and strange phenomena like black holes. This advanced understanding, however, was not shared by everyone. most people still gazed at the sky in simple awe, oblivious to the profound secrets hidden in its immense darkness. How might our lives be different if we could ever fully grasp the universe? Today, thanks to technology, the sky is more accessible than it has ever been. You can use an application on your phone to identify constellations with just a glance upward. Yet, this easy access is accompanied by a paradox. The actual experience of stargazing has been fundamentally altered. The pervasive glow of light pollution has reshaped the nocturnal landscape, effectively stealing the beauty of a star-filled sky from our view. How does this loss truly impact us? The answer is significant, touching upon our deepest cultural and emotional bonds with the stars. Simultaneously, scientific exploration continues its relentless advance. Missions to Mars and other celestial bodies have shown us that the sky is not just a canvas for our dreams, but a tangible space where we can find answers about our own origins and existence. Questions about whether we are alone in the universe are becoming more pressing than ever. But consider this. What would occur if, one day, the sky went completely dark, leaving no stars for us to observe? Throughout our history, the stars have served as beacons of hope, as essential guides for sailors navigating vast oceans, and as powerful symbols of inspiration for artists and poets. Science, however, offers a sobering reminder that stars are not eternal. Eventually, every last one will burn out and die. Contemplating this cosmic cycle prompts a serious question. What kind of legacy are we creating for the generations that will follow? The stars have been silent witnesses to our entire history, but they also represent a future we do not yet know. The relationship between the heavens and humanity is a thread that weaves through the entirety of time. Every civilization, without exception, has looked to the sky in search of answers, and each has contributed to our collective understanding of the cosmos. Tales of love, conflict, sacrifice, and hope have all unfolded beneath this immense, star-dusted canopy. And yet, the question persists. What will become of us if this celestial tapestry begins to fade away? Looking toward the future, it is vital that we not only study the sky, but also actively work to protect it. The history of our relationship with the heavens is not merely a story about the past. It is an urgent call to action for the present. Fighting light pollution and preserving the natural darkness of the night are crucial for safeguarding our connection to the stars. Are we truly prepared to contend for a future where the sky can once again shine in its full glory? In this way, the sky becomes a mirror of our own history, serving as a constant reminder of all we have accomplished and all that is still left to explore. We find ourselves at a pivotal moment. The story of the sky is one of hope, curiosity, and most importantly, connection. A part of our own essence glimmers in every star, and it is our solemn duty to ensure that this light is never extinguished. The night is draped in a dark fabric, punctuated by shimmering points of light we call stars. But have you ever stopped to think about what happens when this spectacle vanishes? Light pollution has grown into a widespread issue, transforming our nights into a wash of artificial illumination that conceals the majesty of the night sky. This reality compels us to imagine a world without shining stars, and, more disturbingly, to confront how such a world impacts our environment. So, what exactly does light pollution entail? Picture that each time you switch on a lamp in your house, you're generating a small sphere of light that bleeds out into your neighborhood. Now, imagine this effect multiplied by millions of homes, brightly lit streets, and office towers that are never dark. The result is as if the night itself has retreated behind a synthetic, neon veil, causing us to forget that the sky is even there, patiently waiting for us to look up. The repercussions of this luminous excess are far more serious than you might think, as entire ecosystems are suffering. A great number of animals depend on the darkness to navigate their surroundings, hunt for food, or find mates. For instance, did you know that when sea turtles hatch, they instinctively move toward the ocean by following the natural light of the stars on the horizon? When artificial lights overwhelm the landscape, these tiny creatures can become hopelessly disoriented, heading toward peril instead of safety. The brightness of our cities can literally extinguish life in other parts of the world. It isn't just animals that are being harmed. Light pollution has a negative influence on our health as well. When you are exposed to bright light during the night, your circadian rhythms, the body's internal clock, are disrupted, which in turn affects your sleep and overall sense of well-being. How many times have you gone from the serene darkness of a natural night to the agitating glow of a digital screen? This constant interruption of our natural cycle can contribute to long-term health issues, including insomnia and even depression. In our quest for convenience and safety, we seem to have lost sight of the inherent value of darkness. However, the stakes are even higher because astronomy, the captivating science that draws us closer to the universe, is itself under serious threat. Astronomers are entirely dependent on dark skies to conduct their observations of the cosmos. Distant stars, planets, and entire galaxies are now hiding behind a dense curtain of man-made light. Can you envision a future where our astronomical discoveries are confined to only what is visible from within brightly illuminated cities? Without clear skies, the next wave of scientists could be denied the chance to explore and truly comprehend the universe. And as artificial light continues to spread, so too does the chasm between people and the sky. For thousands of years, stars have served as a wellspring of wonder, inspiration, and navigation. Consider how many poets have been moved to write about the splendor of the Milky Way, or how many tales have been born from merely gazing upward. If we lose this vital link to the night sky, we risk forfeiting a piece of our collective cultural identity, as the very myths and legends that built our civilizations fade away with the constellations themselves. The encouraging news is that awareness of this problem is on the rise, prompting many cities to adopt measures aimed at curbing light pollution. Have you heard about the communities that are consciously opting for warmer, low-intensity lighting? These seemingly minor adjustments can yield a significant positive impact, not only preserving the sky's natural beauty, but also safeguarding local wildlife and enhancing the quality of life for residents. However, the fight against light pollution isn't solely a task for government authorities. Each of us has a role to play in this important cause. From switching off lights we aren't using to drawing curtains that prevent light from escaping, every small contribution is meaningful. Can you envision a world where you could step outside at night and be greeted by a brilliant canopy of stars? This future isn't as distant as you might think, provided we work together toward this common goal. Education is another critical component in addressing the issue of light pollution. If we start teaching younger generations about the value of the night sky and how to protect it, we can bring about substantial change. Schools could integrate astronomy into their lessons and organize stargazing events, equipping young minds with the knowledge to become future stewards of the cosmos. In a world where the stars are gradually vanishing, human curiosity is also at risk of fading. Should we cease to look up, we might lose the sense of awe and wonder that binds us together as a species. Our quest for answers about our cosmic origins is sparked by our ability to see the universe. So without the brilliance of the stars, what will drive us to comprehend where we came from? This is more than an aesthetic issue. It's a challenge with deep implications for our planet, our health, and our culture. As you contemplate this matter, it's crucial to recognize our sky as an invaluable resource, a heritage that we have a duty to protect. The next time you gaze upward, remember that the stars are calling out to be witnessed, reminding us that light can always be found, even in the deepest darkness. These luminous points that decorate our nights have remarkably intricate lives. But have you ever paused to think about how they are born and how they ultimately perish? The story of the stars is one of perpetual transformation and renewal, an endless cycle that gives shape to our universe. Let's start from the very beginning, with the birth of a star. Stars come into being within immense clouds of interstellar gas and dust. These formations, known as nebulae, serve as the cosmic nurseries where new stars ignite. Under the right circumstances, gravity starts to gather this material into a dense, spinning core. As this process unfolds, the temperature and pressure escalate to such an extreme that nuclear fusion begins, turning hydrogen into helium and unleashing a phenomenal amount of energy in a celestial firework display. This marks the moment a star is truly born. Once ignited, a new star settles into a long period of stability, much like a campfire that burns its fuel at a steady rate. For billions of years, these stars shine with a constant glow, standing as silent guardians in the cosmos. But, like all things, this phase must come to an end, and a star's lifespan is determined by its mass. More massive stars consume their fuel at a much faster pace, leading to considerably shorter lives. So, what becomes of a massive star once its fuel is spent? It culminates in a supernova, an unbelievably powerful explosion that can momentarily outshine billions of stars and be seen across immense cosmic distances. Stars of a smaller size, like our own sun, are destined for a different outcome. After depleting their hydrogen, they swell into red giants, a phase during which they forge heavier elements like carbon and oxygen. Eventually, the star can no longer support its own mass and expels its outer layers, leaving behind a dense, hot remnant called a white dwarf. It's a remarkable thought that in the distant future, our sun will meet this very fate. This cosmic recycling is essential, as the elements cast out into space provide the building blocks for new stars, planets, and perhaps even life itself. Consequently, the death of a star is just as crucial as its birth, representing not an end, but a new beginning within the grand cycle of the universe. What does this cosmic drama mean for us, the inhabitants of a small world in a quiet corner of space? Each time you look at the night sky, you are not just seeing stars, you are witnessing the legacy of stars that existed long before us. Isn't it incredible to think that the very atoms composing your body might have once been forged inside a star that blazed millions of years ago? Yet, the stellar saga continues even after death. The supernova of a massive star can give rise to either a black hole or a neutron star, objects of such incredible density that they defy our current understanding of physics. A black hole acts as a cosmic vortex, its gravity so immense that nothing, not even light, can escape its pull, while the gravity from these remnants can drastically alter the orbits of nearby stars and even entire galaxies. As we delve into the lives of stars, it's clear each one has a unique narrative. Some are born into bustling star clusters, while others lead solitary existences. But they all remind us that everything has its time. This leads to a compelling question. What would our world be like if our sky were devoid of stars? The implications are profound. Without them, there would be no guiding lights for ancient mariners, no celestial muse for poets and artists, and no fixed points for our foundational myths and legends. The absence of stars would fundamentally alter not just our view of the night, but our very connection to the cosmos. As we learn about the stellar life cycle, we see how their death and rebirth are fundamentally intertwined, driving the very evolution of the universe. New worlds would never emerge for you to explore if it were not for the death of stars. This perpetual cycle of stellar life and death is responsible for the incredible variety of stars and planets scattered across the universe. It serves as a profound reminder of both the cosmos's delicate beauty and its inherent fragility. Every star is a brilliant source of light and energy, yet it also signifies the unavoidable truth that all shining things must eventually dim, leaving us to gaze not just at their light, but at the lingering echo of their existence in a constant dance of destruction and creation. The life cycle of a star is an amazing process that forges our connection to the wider cosmos, as every single star you observe in the night sky possesses its own unique story. When you begin to understand this cycle, you can start to appreciate your own position within this immense expanse. It's an exhilarating thought that by observing the stars, you are effectively peering back through time, witnessing the very moments that helped forge the reality we know today. The expansion of the universe is a truly captivating phenomenon that encourages you to reflect on your own existence and your place within the grand cosmic scheme. But what is really happening when we say the universe is expanding? Imagine you are inflating a balloon. Any small marks on its surface will move farther from each other as it gets bigger. In the universe, those marks represent entire galaxies, which drift progressively farther apart with each passing year, millennium, and eon, a process that will ultimately alter the visibility of the very stars you admire. Think for a moment about the night sky you see. The twinkling stars above your head represent just a tiny portion of all that exists in the immense cosmos. As time marches on, however, some of these familiar stars will retreat to such great distances that they will simply fade from your view entirely. This effect isn't just a consequence of increasing distance, but of the vast stretches of time involved. In a very distant future, should this cosmic expansion continue, the view from Earth could be unrecognizably different, forcing you to imagine a sky where the constellations you know have vanished. As the universe expands, it simultaneously cools down. The stars you see today are in the prime of their lives, but their fuel is finite and will eventually be depleted. While most of the stars currently shining have been burning for billions of years, it is projected that in roughly 10 billion years, a great many will have exhausted their energy. This means you are not only facing a future where stars recede from sight, but one where they also go completely dark, fundamentally changing the nocturnal landscape. How does this cosmic eventuality impact you on a personal level? And what does it mean for your emotional connection to the universe? Consider each star as a lamp within a vast, expanding hall. As the hall grows, the lamps not only move farther apart, but one by one, they begin to burn out. If you were standing in that hall, you would surely feel a profound sense of unease and nostalgia as familiar points of light disappear, a sentiment that might parallel our collective experience as we witness an increasingly empty sky. The expansion of the universe is far more than a concept in physics. It carries significant philosophical and emotional weight. For you, as a human being, what does it mean to know that the sky you see today is temporary? This question pushes you to confront the impermanence of everything, highlighting the delicate nature of our cosmic environment, and compelling you to consider your own fleeting existence in a constantly shifting cosmos. However, this cosmic expansion also presents you with a unique opportunity to contemplate the search for new worlds. As galaxies drift apart, vast new regions of space are created where new stars, and perhaps new planetary systems, can form. It raises the intriguing possibility that in a remote future,
Civilizations far from our own might be gazing up at skies filled with brilliant stars that you will never have the chance to see.
Science has made remarkable progress in comprehending the expansion of the universe. By studying supernovae and the cosmic microwave background, which is essentially the residual heat from the Big Bang that permeates all of space, astronomers have been able to calculate the rate of this expansion. Despite these achievements, numerous questions still linger. How might this expansion influence life on other planets? And could you ever hope to reach those distant worlds before their stars fade from your view? Understanding the expansion of the universe could even yield practical benefits in the future. As you delve further into space exploration, a firm grasp of cosmic mechanics might enable the development of more effective navigation technologies. At the same time, this knowledge reinforces just how small our planet is when compared to the sheer scale of the cosmos, offering you a powerful and humbling perspective. The future of your relationship with the night sky is ultimately uncertain. As cosmic expansion continues, you may face a time when the nights are defined by an absence of the stellar light that has always inspired humanity. Even so, it is crucial to remember that while some stars will fade away, new ones will always be forming in distant corners of the universe. In the end, the expanding universe challenges you to look beyond your terrestrial home and ponder what it means to be human in an ever-changing cosmos. Faced with the concept of a sky devoid of stars, you can find hope in the potential for new stars and new stories yet to unfold. So, the next time you look at the sky, remember that each star is a reflection of your own journey and humanity's unceasing quest for knowledge. Even as the universe expands and transforms, your curiosity and desire to understand will continue to shine brightly, piercing through any darkness. What is the relationship between climate change and the view you have of the night sky? Although these two subjects might appear unrelated, they are more connected than you probably imagine. Imagine a perfectly clear night, with stars shining brilliantly across the vastness of space. Now, what if that entire spectacle were to disappear? The unsettling answer to that question reveals how climate change directly impacts your ability to appreciate the heavens above. As our planet warms, you see significant shifts in global climate patterns, which leads to more than just rising temperatures. It also results in more frequent extreme weather events. You may not realize that storms are growing in number and intensity precisely because of these changes. While it may seem like a minor issue, the dense clouds from these storms actively block your view of the starry sky you wish to see. If you think of the sky as a magnificent painting, then these clouds are like a heavy curtain drawn across the masterpiece. Another factor that demands your consideration is atmospheric pollution. As urban centers expand and industrial activity increases, greenhouse gases and other contaminants build up in the atmosphere. This accumulation not only poses a threat to our health, but also forms a shroud that obscures the light from the stars. Picture trying to look through a window that is caked with grime and smog. For many of us, this is precisely how we now experience the night sky. Then, you have the issue of artificial light, a concept that has become increasingly significant over the last few decades. Our cities are ablaze with lights that banish the darkness, enabling us to see and function at all hours. Yet, this relentless glow produces an effect that effectively erases the stars from view. Artificial illumination doesn't just make the stars harder to see, it also disrupts the natural behavior of nocturnal animals, throwing their life cycles into chaos. If you've ever heard birds singing in the middle of the night, it might be because they are mistaking the city's glow for the dawn. The consequences of climate change are not confined to the visibility of the night sky, as they also have a direct impact on the practice of astronomy itself. Should the climate grow more erratic, astronomers studying the cosmos will face a formidable obstacle.
Clear nights are absolutely essential for their observations, and without them, telescopes are unable to gather the faint light from distant stars and galaxies. It's analogous to attempting to watch a film while the screen is obstructed. Regardless of how powerful the projector is, the story is lost if there is no clarity. Furthermore, the changing climate may influence the very shape of new constellations as we perceive them. As industrialization continues its spread, numerous regions that were once dark and perfectly suited for stargazing are now becoming brightly lit. But what is the consequence for the stars that continue to shine? The reality is straightforward. A great many of them may be concealed from our sight for all time. This link between climate change and the clarity of the night sky also weakens our emotional bond with the universe. Looking up at the stars has always been a source of inspiration, making you feel humbled by the sheer immensity of the cosmos. If we lose this connection, how might that affect our mental and emotional well-being? The night sky is far more than just a beautiful vista. It serves as a sanctuary for quiet reflection and deep thought. If it disappears, what will take its place? It is crucial to acknowledge that while climate change presents a grave challenge, there is still reason for hope. Awareness surrounding light pollution and our changing climate is steadily growing. By grasping how these issues are intertwined, you and I can begin to implement measures to safeguard our view of the night sky. Can you envision a future where we can once again look up and see the stars burning with their full intensity? In this fight, education is the most powerful tool. By teaching younger generations about the significance of the sky and the methods for its preservation, we plant the seeds for a more luminous future. Every minor contribution has an impact, from adopting more energy-efficient lighting to advocating for the protection of natural dark sky areas. Each individual action can truly make a difference. So, what actions are available for you to take? Let's take a moment to consider our personal relationship with the sky. What does it represent to each of us? And why is the preservation of these nocturnal landscapes so critical? For millennia, the stars have served as our guides, inspired our myths, and shaped our legends. Without them, humanity would be stripped of a truly essential part of its collective history. As we navigate toward an unpredictable future, reestablishing our connection to the heavens could provide both comfort and optimism. It serves as a reminder that, in spite of the difficulties we encounter, there is always beauty waiting to be admired. The relationship between climate change and the night sky underscores the fact that all our actions have repercussions. Every choice we make, from our energy use to our urban planning, can influence our ability to see the cosmos. With every star that flickers out, we forfeit a piece of ourselves. The time has come to take action, to protect what we have left, and to fight for the sky that fills us all with wonder. What if, one day, you gazed up at the sky only to find it completely empty of stars? Such an absence would not only strip the heavens of their beauty, but would also have a profound effect on our search for life on other planets. How exactly does the presence of stars shape the likelihood of discovering life beyond our own world? To answer that, you must first delve into the fundamental role that stars play in the universe and in our very existence. Stars function as beacons within the infinite expanse of the cosmos. Their light is a sign, telling us that something far greater exists beyond the confines of our planet. They are cosmic laboratories where the elements that constitute everything you know are forged, from the oxygen filling your lungs to the carbon that is the foundation of life itself. In a universe without stars, the chemical components vital for our being would never have been created. Moreover, stars are the very engines that establish the conditions necessary for life to emerge.
What would happen if we could no longer see these shimmering points of light in the sky? When you peer into space, you are also looking deep into our own past. The light from distant stars has traveled for millions of years to reach us, which means that observing them allows us to read stories written across eons. If there were no stars, that profound connection to our history would be completely severed. Beyond any sense of nostalgia, the quest for life on other planets would be seriously compromised. What implications would this have for the scientists who dedicate their careers to the field of astrobiology? Astrobiology is the scientific study of life throughout the universe, and its practitioners seek to answer some of the most captivating questions. How did life begin, and do other forms of life exist out there in space? Stars serve as crucial indicators of planetary systems that might just harbor life. If the sky went dark and our stars vanished, scientists would lose the primary clues that tell them where to direct their search. Without the light of stars, how could you possibly determine if there are other habitable worlds in our galaxy? Imagine for a moment a future where humanity has mastered the technology to explore other star systems. But without any stars to guide us, how could we even begin to identify which planets are orbiting them? The absence of these celestial lights would render the search for other life-sustaining worlds even more daunting. It would be like trying to find a needle in a completely dark and empty haystack. Furthermore, stars do more than just signal the presence of planets. They directly shape the environmental conditions that could permit life to flourish. A planet's distance from its host star is what determines if it falls within the habitable zone, the region where temperatures are just right for liquid water to exist, an essential ingredient for life as we understand it. In a cosmos devoid of stars, this life-sustaining habitable zone would simply cease to exist. How would our theories of life in the universe be transformed if their very foundation were to crumble? Our entire search for extraterrestrial life is built upon the principle that life can be exceptionally diverse. The unique conditions presented by different star types could give rise to entirely distinct forms of biology. For example, stars like red dwarfs have dramatically longer lifespans than larger ones, which could provide billions of years for life to emerge and adapt. Without this variety of stars and their planetary systems, we would be denied the chance to find organisms that could completely overturn our current understanding of existence. It's remarkable to reflect on how stars have broadened our perception of what life can be. As our knowledge of the cosmos has grown, we have started to entertain possibilities that were once considered unimaginable. The extinction of stars would represent not just a blow to scientific progress, but also a profound loss to our capacity to dream. How could future generations even conceive of life beyond Earth if they were to inherit a sky that was permanently dark? From a philosophical standpoint, the complete absence of stars would compel us to reevaluate our own place in the universe. If the heavens went dark, what would it truly mean to be human in a seemingly empty cosmos? Throughout history, stars have been a constant source of inspiration and hope, serving as guides for both explorers and dreamers. Without their light, the search for meaning would undoubtedly become more arduous, and perhaps far more desolate. The quest for life is not merely a scientific endeavor, it is also a deeply emotional one. The sense of connection we experience when we gaze at the stars speaks to our innate longing to be part of something much greater than ourselves. A sky devoid of stars could leave a significant emotional void in our journey to understand who we are and where we are headed as a species. Finally, it's crucial to examine how a starless world would reshape our relationship with Earth itself. The stars have taught us about cycles, the passage of time, and our specific place within the vast expanse of the universe. Without them, we might forfeit our cosmic perspective,
and the search for life on other worlds would become a faint echo of what was once a unifying dream for all of humanity. Reflecting on what it means to exist in a world without stars helps us better appreciate the beauty and profound importance of our night sky. Starlight is more than just a visual marvel. It's a guide and a reminder that the universe is immense and full of potential. The search for life is, in so many ways, a search for connection. In the absence of stars, this endeavor would present a monumental challenge, forcing us to ask if we are truly prepared for a future without the lights that have guided us since the dawn of time. Those tiny, twinkling lights in the night sky, the stars, have been humanity's companions since our earliest beginnings, serving to guide, inspire, and captivate us. But how has technology influenced our connection to these cosmic wonders? Telescopes, instruments that seem to belong in a science fiction story, have utterly transformed our view of the heavens. Imagine a world where, instead of looking up at a vast ocean of stars, you saw only a black, empty canvas. This is where technology has played such a pivotal role, opening a window to the unknown and allowing us to explore what lies beyond the limits of human sight. From their inception, telescopes underwent an incredible evolution. In the 17th century, Galileo Galilei was among the first to point one toward the sky, and with his small, primitive instrument, he discovered Jupiter's moons and the phases of Venus. These were revelations that completely altered our understanding of the universe. If Galileo had never peered through his telescope, our entire conception of the cosmos would be profoundly different today. Thanks to modern technology, we can now observe galaxies that are millions of light years away, and telescopes like Hubble have captured awe-inspiring images that reveal the universe's immense beauty and complexity. But what if these pictures were just memories of a bygone era? Picture a future where telescopes can no longer collect the light of distant stars. We would lose a massive part of the universe's history, as every star we see is telling its own unique story of birth and death. The disappearance of the stars would impact more than just scientists and astronomers. It would affect every one of us, regardless of our expertise. Gazing at the sky has long been a source of inspiration for artists, poets, and philosophers. How often have you looked up at the stars and felt a deep connection to something much larger than yourself? Without them, we would lose that emotional bond, and the resulting emptiness in the sky could have a significant psychological impact. Technology has changed not only how we observe, but also how we understand. Telescopes have facilitated incredible discoveries, like the existence of exoplanets, distant worlds that might harbor life. But what would become of the search for these new worlds in a sky without stars? Our nights would become darker in a way that is more than just literal. The absence of starlight might even hinder our development of new space exploration technologies, forcing us to question whether we could truly innovate without the inspiration the cosmos provides. The importance of telescopes also lies in their power to bring us closer to science. Each new discovery awakens curiosity and encourages learning. Without the ability to simply look up at the heavens, how could we motivate new generations to become interested in science and space? Furthermore, these instruments provide us with a direct link to the past. Every image they capture is a glimpse into what the cosmos was like millions of years ago. To lose this access would mean losing an essential part of our cosmic heritage, because the history of the stars is, in fact, the history of humanity. With every evolution in telescope technology, vast new frontiers of exploration are unveiled. Our technological progress is accelerating, granting us space-based observatories capable of viewing the cosmos free from the distortions of our planet's atmosphere. Imagine, however, if this advancement came to a halt.
A starless sky would signify an end to our cosmic journey, potentially extinguishing the very drive to explore the unknown. While human curiosity is boundless, what would fuel our quest for discovery if there was nothing left to observe in the night sky? Telescopes are far more than mere scientific tools. They are powerful extensions of our inherent desire to understand. These instruments bridge the gap between us and the cosmos, serving as a profound reminder of our own smallness in the vastness of space. To lose them would mean sacrificing the chance to truly comprehend our place in the universe. The question we must face is whether we are prepared to allow that to happen. So, when you next gaze upward, consider the vital role of science and technology in that view. Though they seem distant, the stars are intrinsically part of our story, and a future without them would be a profoundly different and diminished one we should actively work to prevent. For as long as we have existed, stars have been integral to our lives, acting as celestial lighthouses in the dark and guiding us through the night. But have you ever paused to consider just how deeply these luminous bodies have shaped our culture and our very way of thinking? Preserving the night sky is not simply an aesthetic choice. It is essential for our comprehension, our creativity, and ultimately, our shared humanity. From the dawn of time, stars have sparked myths, legends, and foundational stories that have defined civilizations across the globe. The mythology of countless ancient cultures is rich with narratives woven around the stars. In classical Greece, for instance, the constellations were not just patterns, but the embodiments of gods and heroes, with each one given a story that mirrored their values and understanding of the world. What meaning would the sky hold for us today without these tales? How would our own stories have developed without the constellations that taught us about courage, wisdom, and destiny? Beyond myth, stars have long been potent symbols of our dreams and highest aspirations. For centuries, poets and writers have turned to the heavens for inspiration, seeing the stars as representations of the unattainable, the beautiful, and the enigmatic. You might recall the famous sentiment from Antoine de Saint-Exupéry's The Little Prince, where he notes that people often forget the stars are there to remind us of what truly matters. In the absence of that glittering canvas, where would we turn to find the motivation to keep dreaming? In the world of art, stars have illuminated countless masterpieces, from the swirling skies of Van Gogh's paintings to the ethereal notes of Mozart's compositions. These celestial lights have profoundly shaped not just how we perceive the world, but also how we feel about it. How could a masterpiece convey the same sense of wonder without a starry backdrop to invite contemplation? Without the stars, art risks losing a crucial element of its soul, its timeless connection to the eternal. Constellations have also been indispensable practical tools. For ancient mariners, the stars were a celestial map, providing guidance across vast, uncharted oceans and making global exploration possible. Can you envision a world where sailors had no reliable way to navigate, where the stars were nothing more than a fading memory? Our history of discovery would have followed an entirely different course. Similarly, many cultures relied on the stars to track the seasons, a practice essential for agriculture. The disappearance of the stars could sever this fundamental link to the cycles of nature, affecting our traditions and our connection to the earth. The influence of stars extends deeply into religion and spirituality, where they are often integrated into beliefs as symbols of the divine. In this context, the night sky becomes a reflection of our most profound hopes and spiritual yearnings. How might our search for meaning and our very beliefs be altered if the stars were to vanish? Gazing at the cosmos has always been a refuge for meditation, an act that connects us to the infinite and reminds us that we are part of something immeasurably larger. If this ancient practice of reflection were lost, we would be deprived of a powerful source of peace and perspective.
Poetry, literature, and art offer just a glimpse of the immense impact stars have on our lives. Each time you look up at the night sky, you are sharing an experience with every generation that came before you. If that sky were to go dark, what kind of legacy would we be leaving for the future? A sky without stars would create a void in our stories, our traditions, and our essential connection to the cosmos. They teach us about hope and beauty, and without them, we might lose not just our capacity to dream, but a core part of our human identity. Could we discover new forms of inspiration in a starless world? Perhaps we would be forced to look inward, forging new symbols to fill the emptiness. But would that truly be enough to replace what was lost? As you appreciate the night sky, remember the importance of safeguarding this celestial connection. Our culture, history, and spirituality are all intricately tied to these lights in the firmament. Protecting our sky is synonymous with protecting our stories, our future, and our humanity. So I ask you, what would happen if the constellations we recognize were to fade away? And what are you willing to do to ensure they continue to shine? There's no doubt that constellations have served as a map in the darkness, a universal visual language that has linked countless generations. From the ancient Greeks to the indigenous peoples of the Americas, every culture has woven its own narratives and myths around these stellar patterns. What would become of these tales if we were unable to see them anymore? Without constellations, you would lose not only a map of the heavens, but also a priceless cultural inheritance that has helped forge our identity. Imagine a child looking up at the sky for the very first time, pointing to the Big Dipper and asking about the stories concealed within its stars. If that sky were barren, this child would grow up without the enchantment of the legends that once animated their ancestors. How would they feel, searching the night and seeing only a void? Our connection to the cosmos would simply evaporate, taking with it a vital component of the human experience. The absence of constellations would also redefine how we navigate our own planet. For centuries, sailors have turned to the stars to plot their course across the seas. How would they find their way without them? Though modern navigation depends on sophisticated technology, there remains a deep symbolic meaning in looking upward and letting starlight guide you. Without that celestial reference, finding our path would become not just more challenging, but also far less poetic. Exploring the emotional consequences, the disappearance of constellations could create a significant void in our lives. Stars have always been emblems of hope, reminders that something exists far greater than ourselves. Without them, where would you turn for inspiration? The night would feel profoundly darker, and a sense of loneliness could easily take root in many of us. Our link to the universe would be jeopardized, and we might feel more isolated in our quest for meaning. Mythology itself would sustain a devastating blow. Constellations have been the central figures in countless stories, featuring everything from heroes and gods to fantastical creatures. Without these narratives, what kind of legacy would we be leaving for the generations to come? It would be like trying to live in a world without fairy tales, a world where imagination is constrained and creativity begins to stagnate. The vibrant and varied tapestry of human storytelling would become much poorer without these celestial guides. Moreover, the vanishing of constellations could harm our relationship with the natural world. Many cultures have relied on the stars to signal the changing seasons and to make sense of life's cycles. Lacking this ancient knowledge, we might lose our bearings within the ecosystem. Key human activities like agriculture, hunting, and gathering all depend on a nuanced understanding of these natural rhythms, an understanding that could fade without the stars. Science would also be deeply affected. At its most fundamental level, astronomy is the endeavor to understand the universe. Constellations provide a crucial starting point for exploring the sky, and without them, human curiosity might wane. The loss of the stars would mean forfeiting the very language that enables us to communicate with the cosmos. How could we continue our exploration of the unknown without the reference points that inspire us to look to the heavens?
And yet, not everything that followed would be negative. The disappearance of constellations could inspire new ways of perceiving the sky. It's possible that humanity would be compelled to find new methods for connecting with the universe, creating fresh myths and stories around whatever remained. Human creativity has a way of persevering, and although we would lose a great deal, we might also construct something entirely new in its place. Technology could also assume a pivotal role in this transition. If the constellations were to vanish, we might develop tools to recreate them digitally, offering a visual experience to compensate for the absence of natural light. Augmented reality could allow us to see the starry sky where it no longer physically exists, presenting a window into our past and a means to stay connected with our own history. Constellations have been a fundamental part of education for many years. Without them, the study of the heavens would become more abstract and less approachable. Astronomy classes would have to be completely redesigned, and new generations might never have the chance to marvel at and explore the universe directly. The deep emotional connection that arises from observing the stars and comprehending their significance would be in peril. The cultural impact of a starless sky could be monumental. Literature, art, and music have long found inspiration in the cosmos, and the removal of this cornerstone could leave a void that would be incredibly difficult to fill. Stars have been a source of inspiration for countless poets and artists, and their absence would mean losing the kind of beauty that only the sky can truly offer. Finally, as you reflect on the future, it becomes essential to ask how we could possibly adapt to a new world without constellations. Perhaps we would discover new ways to come together and build community by exploring other facets of nature and the cosmos. We would be forced to search for connections elsewhere, maybe on Earth itself, or even in the ocean, where life so often mirrors the wonders of the universe. The disappearance of constellations would undoubtedly change our perception of the sky, but it could simultaneously open new doors for creativity, science, and human connection. Although it would present an immense challenge, the story of humanity has always been one of adaptation and resilience. And perhaps, on this new horizon, we would find innovative ways to continue looking upward, searching for answers in a sky that, while no longer bright, would remain a symbol of our quest to understand the unknown. When you look at the sky, you see thousands of shining stars, and each one holds its own story. But have you ever stopped to think about the tool that lets us uncover these secrets? Telescopes are our windows to the universe, granting us the power to peer beyond what our own eyes are capable of seeing. Their journey has been long and captivating, filled with remarkable facts and breakthroughs that have completely revolutionized our understanding of the cosmos. In their earliest days, telescopes were simple, almost primitive, compared to the instruments we have now. Back in the 17th century, Galileo Galilei used a basic tubular device with lenses to observe the moons of Jupiter and the phases of Venus. Just try to grasp the sense of wonder he must have experienced, realizing the sky held far more than anyone had ever known. His first telescope was the key that unlocked a new reality, one where astronomy could transcend speculation and become a true science. As the years went by,
technology progressed, leading to Newton's reflecting telescope, which utilized a mirror instead of lenses. This innovation made it possible to observe objects that were dimmer and much farther away. Imagine what it feels like to peer through a telescope that is not just an instrument, but an engineering marvel. Every improvement represented a significant step in human history, bringing us closer to grasping our own place in the cosmos. Telescopes continued to grow in size and capability, and in the 20th century, the instrument on Mount Palomar, with its 5-meter mirror, became an icon of modern astronomy. It empowered astronomers to view distant galaxies and unravel the very structure of the universe. But what if all the stars were to suddenly vanish? Without them, these magnificent tools would be stripped of their primary purpose. The arrival of space telescopes like Hubble initiated a profound transformation in the field. Positioned beyond Earth's atmosphere, Hubble captures cosmic images free from the distortions of light and clouds, offering a clarity that was previously inconceivable. Each photograph it takes has revealed new worlds, yet has also raised far more questions than it has answered. Consider the consequences if the night sky went dark, with no stars left to study. Telescopes would be reduced to hollow artifacts, incapable of fulfilling their mission to show us the universe's beauty and mystery. Science, which has advanced so swiftly because of these instruments, would suffer a devastating blow. How could we possibly continue our exploration and discovery of the unknown without a sky filled with stars to guide us? The disappearance of the stars would impact more than just telescopes. It would fundamentally alter our comprehension of time and space. What would become of our discoveries related to black holes and remote galaxies? Without the light from distant stars, our theories about the universe's origins would become obsolete. Astronomy itself is built upon the act of observation. So how could we possibly continue to expand our knowledge in a starless void? The very evolution of the telescope is a direct reflection of our species' inherent curiosity. Each new generation of these instruments was conceived to address questions we once could only dream of formulating. While the technology constantly moves forward, its fundamental aim, to understand the cosmos, remains unchanged. A starless sky, however, would condemn many of these profound questions to remain unanswered forever. Picture, for a moment, a night entirely devoid of stars, just absolute, unbroken darkness. There would be no constellations to direct travelers, no celestial lights to inspire stories. How would astronomers feel, gazing upward only to be met with emptiness? The entire discipline of astronomy as we know it could regress into a study of the past, where the lives of stars are nothing more than legends from a long-lost era. Our telescopes stand as a testament to our relentless search for answers. Every time we aim one of these instruments toward the heavens, we do so with the hope of unveiling something new. But what would happen if the sky were rendered a blank canvas? The exhilarating rush of a new discovery would disappear, and along with it, the very passion that fuels an astronomer's quest for knowledge. The significance of telescopes extends beyond their observational power. They serve as a vital link between scientific inquiry and our shared humanity. They connect us to the cosmos, reminding us that we belong to something immeasurably vast. If the stars were to vanish, we would lose that connection, and telescopes would become simple relics of an age that was filled with light and wonder. As we look toward the future, it is crucial to appreciate the role telescopes have played throughout our history. They have given us the ability to look up, to peer into the unknown, and to imagine what lies beyond our world. A sky without stars would affect everyone, not just scientists. The loss of those brilliant lights would signify a loss of our curiosity, our thirst for knowledge, and ultimately, our bond with the universe.
Navigation would be one of the most immediate and practical challenges in a world where the stars have faded. For millennia, the sky has been a reliable map for explorers and voyagers. Stars served as beacons, enabling sailors to chart courses across immense oceans and helping land-based travelers find their way. Without these celestial signposts, what alternatives would we have for orientation?
Traditional navigation is an art, refined over centuries, entirely dependent on observing the constellations. The ancient Greeks, for instance, relied on the Big Dipper to locate north. Without the stars, these time-honored methods would be lost. While it's true we now have global positioning systems, or GPS, that can pinpoint our location with incredible accuracy, a total dependence on this technology introduces its own set of risks. What would occur if a systemic failure denied us access to these tools at a critical moment? Reflecting on navigation without stars also prompts us to consider how various cultures have intertwined their identities with the sky. Ancient and indigenous peoples across the globe used the stars, not only for direction, but for storytelling, for passing down knowledge, and for marking important rituals. If the stars disappeared, what would become of these rich traditions? We would risk losing a significant part of our collective cultural heritage. Imagine a future where generations are cut off from their own history and cultural roots simply because they have no starry heavens to gaze upon. Navigation, after all, extends far beyond the confines of oceans and continents. In their pioneering days, even aircraft soaring at high speeds depended on the stars for guidance. And while modern planes now use sophisticated instruments and radar, the fundamental principles of celestial orientation remain a vital aspect of aviation. Without a field of stars, pilots would find themselves deprived of crucial visual reference points during nighttime flights. You have to wonder what might occur if, caught in dense fog or a violent storm, they were unable to seek direction from the constellations. This thought also leads us to consider the profound effects a starless world would have on the animal kingdom, as many species, like migratory birds, rely on the stars to navigate their immense journeys. If the heavens went dark, how would it disrupt their ancient migration patterns? The resulting shifts in their behavior could trigger a cascade of consequences throughout entire ecosystems, threatening the biodiversity we know today. The delicate equilibrium of nature could be disturbed in ways we can't yet fully anticipate, throwing our world into an unknown state of ecological imbalance. This concept of an obscured sky also forces you to question how we would find our way in this new reality. Without constellations to serve as fixed points, even ground navigation could become incredibly confusing. Our modern cities and road networks would require significant adaptation, likely incorporating entirely new technologies, and leading to a greater reliance on systems that are themselves vulnerable to failure. When you look back through history, it becomes clear that humanity's great explorations were inextricably linked to celestial observation. Trailblazers from Columbus to Magellan charted their courses by the stars, and without these guiding lights, our inherent spirit of adventure might be severely diminished. That innate human curiosity, the very spark that propels us toward the unknown, could easily flicker and die out, along with the stars, perhaps making us a more stationary and less inquisitive species. Science would also suffer a tremendous blow, as the entire field of astronomy, which has been so essential to understanding our cosmic position, could face a major regression. In the absence of visible stars, our ability to study the cosmos and comprehend our cosmic surroundings would be drastically curtailed. You have to ask what would become of future scientists and astronomers who lack a sky filled with marvels to ignite their curiosity and fuel their work.
Education would assume a critical role in this altered world, yet teaching about the stars and their significance would become a formidable challenge. How could you possibly convey the vastness of the universe to children if they had no celestial canopy to observe? The relevance of lessons on constellations and the history of navigation would all but disappear, potentially fostering a deep and lasting disconnect from the spirit of scientific exploration. Ultimately, a sky devoid of stars compels you to reflect on our bond with the natural world, which has always been a source of wonder and connection. How would our perception of reality shift without this nightly spectacle? The disappearance of the universe's beauty could diminish our appreciation for our own planet and the life it sustains, severing the profound emotional link we feel when we look up and recognize our part in something infinitely greater. Navigation, in all its forms, is a mirror reflecting our history and our relentless search for understanding. A starless sky wouldn't just alter how we travel. It would fundamentally change our perception of our place in the universe and our relationship with nature. The stars are more than just distant lights. They are powerful symbols of discovery, connection, and the unyielding curiosity that defines us. To contemplate a world without stars is to envision a bleak future for the field of astronomy. How would our comprehension of the cosmos be transformed if the night sky were a complete void? The science of astronomy, as we currently know it, is built upon observing these celestial bodies that have guided humanity for thousands of years, and their absence would necessitate a radical reinvention of the discipline. Consider the role of telescopes, the powerful instruments that have enabled astronomers to chart the unknown. If there were no stars to observe, what purpose would their continued development serve? The quest for new worlds and the comprehension of cosmic events would be critically hampered, and the exploration of space might devolve from a scientific pursuit into a mere exercise of the imagination. Our most advanced theories about the universe's origin and destiny are fundamentally dependent on the existence of stars. If they were to vanish, the physics explaining galactic formation and cosmic evolution would be rendered obsolete. Without stars as benchmarks, concepts like the expansion of the universe would require a complete overhaul, as science relies on observation and data that would no longer be available. In such a scenario, astronomy would be compelled to adapt, perhaps by shifting its focus to phenomena like cosmic background radiation or gravitational waves. However, you must ask if these alternatives could ever truly compensate for the loss of the stars. The emotional connection we experience when gazing at the night sky is irreplaceable, and losing it would be akin to losing a piece of our very humanity, leaving a void that new methods of study could never hope to fill. What if the sky you see each night, so brilliant and filled with enigmatic stars, simply ceased to exist? While this scenario sounds like the stuff of nightmares, certain concepts within our universe could actually lead to such an alarming reality. The physics of space-time offers a framework for understanding how the cosmos operates, and may hold secrets we have yet to even imagine. The idea of space-time can seem incredibly complex, but it essentially describes the very fabric of the universe. Picture it as an immense canvas that stretches and warps, with every star and planet acting as a point on its surface. This cosmic canvas isn't static. It bends significantly around massive objects like stars and black holes. But what might happen if this fabric were to shrink or even tear? Could such an event cause the stars to vanish from our sight? Within this cosmic narrative, black holes represent one of the most mysterious phenomena known to us. These are regions of space with a gravitational pull so intense that nothing, not even light, can escape. Think of them as cosmic vacuum cleaners, pulling in everything that strays too close. If a star ventures near a black hole, it risks being consumed,
leaving nothing but an empty void. In a universe where black holes were to become more numerous, the possibility of many stars being devoured would become a genuine threat.
Relativity, one of the most groundbreaking theories in physics, reveals that time and space are fundamentally linked. As an object accelerates to incredible speeds, time for that object appears to slow down relative to a stationary observer. Now, try to imagine a universe where stars are moving away from us at such extraordinary velocities that time and space themselves become distorted. How would you perceive a sky where stars travel so fast they disappear from view before you could even appreciate them? The expansion of the universe also plays a critical role in this potential future. Ever since the Big Bang, the cosmos has been continuously expanding, causing galaxies to drift further apart from one another. Over vast cosmic timescales, some stars may eventually travel beyond the limits of our observable horizon. If this cosmic inflation persists, you could one day find yourself in a future where the night sky is not a tapestry of stars, but rather a vast, dark, and empty ocean. A starless sky would have a profound emotional impact that we cannot afford to underestimate. For millennia, the stars have served as beacons of hope and guidance for humanity. Losing them would severely damage our intrinsic connection to the cosmos. Imagine how future generations might feel, gazing upward only to be met by a featureless black veil. The quest for meaning in the universe would become far more difficult without those luminous points reminding us that we are part of something much larger. Our study of wormholes, theoretical shortcuts through the fabric of spacetime, introduces another fascinating element to this story. If we could ever find and navigate one, we might be able to travel to distant parts of the universe almost instantly. But what would happen if these cosmic tunnels were unstable or suddenly closed? Picture yourself on a journey across the galaxy when your path simply collapses. How could you possibly find your way back home without the familiar stars to act as your guide? The absence of a starry sky would almost certainly trigger a decline in public interest in astronomy, and perhaps in science overall. Who would aspire to become an astronomer if the very sky they wished to study had nothing left to reveal? Moreover, the repercussions for technology would be significant, as many innovations have been born from our need to study and comprehend the stars. If the heavens went dark, what would inspire the next great technological leap for humanity? A lack of stars could cause research in astrophysics to grind to a halt, and humanity might forfeit the chance to develop new technologies inspired by cosmic phenomena. Curiosity about the unknown has always been a powerful engine for human progress, and without the stars to fuel it, that engine could sputter and die. Furthermore, international collaborations in astronomy, with telescopes and observatories acting as meeting grounds for scientists from around the world, would lose one of their primary unifying purposes. Education would also face a radical transformation. Astronomy is one of the sciences that most effectively captures the imaginations of young people, inspiring them to dream of becoming astronauts and scientists. Without a sky full of stars, what would happen to the educational programs that encourage this wonder? A blank sky could create a profound void in our ability to teach about the universe and our place within it, potentially severing future generations' connection to the cosmos. The impact would also be deeply felt in culture and the arts, fields that have consistently drawn upon the stars as a boundless well of inspiration. For ages, poets, artists, and writers have looked to the heavens to find both beauty and meaning. Without the stars, what would become of their creative works? The entire human narrative, which is rich with myths and legends built around the constellations, could lose its essential magic, leaving timeless stories feeling incomplete. Perhaps, amidst this profound loss, humanity would discover new ways to engage with the cosmos.
We might witness a renewed and intensified search for other forms of life and alien civilizations throughout the universe. The absence of stars could even make us more introspective, compelling us to seek answers within ourselves rather than in the sky. However, this search might feel more desperate and less guided, like fumbling for a light switch in an impossibly dark room.
Ultimately, the story of astronomy is completely interwoven with the existence of stars. If they were gone, you would lose not just a source of scientific knowledge, but also a fundamental part of your identity as a human being. Curiosity, creativity, and our deep connection to the cosmos are all aspects that help define us. What kind of future would await us in a world where the sky no longer shines? The answer could very well shape the destiny of humanity for centuries to come. The dual nature of light, which can act as both a particle and a wave, invites us to question our very perception of the night sky. If the light from distant stars behaved differently, or if the fundamental conditions of the universe were to shift, you might gaze upon heavens that are completely unrecognizable. This possibility leads to a profound question. In an ever-changing cosmos, could light itself simply cease to exist? The consequences of a sky without stars would also dramatically affect our conception of time. Lacking the familiar constellations that have helped us mark the seasons for millennia, our intrinsic connection to time's passage would be disrupted. Cultures around the world have long relied on the stars for orientation and for celebrating sacred rituals. And without that celestial guidance, humanity could lose a foundational sense of continuity. Ultimately, the disappearance of the stars raises deep, probing questions about our existence. Without the distant light of suns, the universe might be stripped of its beauty, its mystery, and its power to inspire. It is here that science and philosophy intertwine, urging us to seek meaning in a cosmic landscape that could become entirely different from the one we know. This forces you to ask if we could find new ways to comprehend our place in the cosmos. In this hypothetical scenario, the need to preserve our perception of the heavens becomes even more critical. Science offers many potential solutions, but also calls upon us to reflect on our responsibility as a species. Studying the physics of space-time and related concepts not only helps us understand our universe, but also encourages a deeper appreciation for the beauty of the sky you see now. Our hope lies in our ability to explore, discover, and preserve the world that surrounds us. So, what would happen if one day you woke up to find the sky utterly empty, without a single star in sight? The idea of a starless sky may seem like a simple fantasy, but exploring the consequences of such a reality confronts us with its deep emotional and psychological impact. Stars have been a constant in our existence since time immemorial, woven into our stories, our mythologies, and our dreams. Without them, what would be left of our connection to the universe? A starry night has long been a source of inspiration for poets, artists, and scientists. Since ancient times, stars have guided sailors on their voyages, functioned as natural calendars, and fueled human curiosity about our place in the cosmos. Now, imagine the devastation of a starless sky, a dark, empty canvas that offers no comfort or hope. The absence of these lights could make you feel profoundly isolated and disconnected from something far greater than yourself. The connection between humans and the stars is almost magical. Every time you look up, you likely feel a mixture of wonder and humility. Without this brilliant spectacle, a significant emotional void could emerge. A perpetually dark night might become a constant reminder of that loss, evoking persistent feelings of sadness and hopelessness. Without the sky you so often admire, how would this affect your perception of the world and yourself? Furthermore, stars have always been symbols of hope. In many cultures, their light has embodied the future and provided guidance during difficult times. Without this celestial light, you might feel as though you have lost the very compass of your life. Where would you then find solace in the darkness? The search for answers could become more intense, driving us to seek inspiration in the most unexpected of places. Perhaps we would create new legends, but would they be enough to fill the void left by the sky?
Human psychology is built on connections to nature, the sky, the stars, which are all part of the fabric that unites us. Without stars, you might observe a rise in collective anxiety and depression. The night, once a moment for reflection and connection, could turn into a stark reminder of what has been lost. Darkness might become a space of deep uncertainty, where fears arise without any distant light to dispel them. In this starless world, the search for meaning could intensify and turn inward. Humanity has always sought answers to its existential questions, often by looking to the cosmos. Without a sky full of stars, would you instead look within for those answers? Introspection could become your only guide, compelling you to explore the very essence of your existence and your place in a silent world. The emotional impact of an empty sky would affect not only your individual psyche but also your interpersonal relationships. In times of crisis, we often seek comfort in others by sharing the beauty of the stars. What would unite us without them? Perhaps new ways to connect would be found, but the sense of loss might only deepen the loneliness in a world that can already feel disconnected. The fundamental need for beauty in our lives might see us turn to art and literature as a way to express the pain of what is no longer there. The absence of stars could also have a profound impact on spirituality. For many, the starry sky is a symbol of the divine, a reminder that there is something greater than our earthly existence. Without this connection, you might find yourself in a desperate search for meaning, attempting to fill the void with other beliefs or practices. Spirituality could transform, adapting to a world that has lost its guiding light, while science might find a new frontier in studying the very nature of an empty cosmos. The consequences would also extend into your daily life. A sky devoid of stars could severely interfere with your circadian rhythms, which in turn would negatively impact your sleep and overall well-being. Without this natural celestial light, you could see a rise in sleep disorders and widespread fatigue, because the link between the night sky and our biological clocks is far more profound than you might realize, and its loss could be detrimental to our health. Education would also be greatly affected without a starry expanse to capture the imagination of the next generation. How could you motivate young minds to delve into the realms of science and astronomy? A natural curiosity about the cosmos has always been a powerful catalyst for learning, and its disappearance could trigger a decline in interest in these vital fields. You might find that we'd have to completely rethink how we teach the universe, inventing new methods to foster a sense of wonder. The prospect of a starless sky forces you to confront the critical importance of protecting our environment. Threats to our view of the night, such as pervasive light pollution, demand your urgent attention and action. The deep emotional bond we share with the stars serves as a powerful reminder of exactly what is at stake. If you fail to make a conscious effort to safeguard the sky's natural beauty, we risk losing something that goes beyond the physical, a universal symbol of hope and unity. A world without stars would represent more than just an empty canvas. It would create a void filled with emotional and psychological deficits. The light from distant suns does more than just brighten the darkness. It infuses our lives with meaning, weaves our stories together, and fuels our imagination. In a sky stripped of its light, humanity would be compelled to discover new sources of purpose, making the quest for answers and the forging of new connections essential for navigating a future without cosmic brilliance. This brings us to a crucial question. What does the ethics of science truly entail? In the scenario of a starless sky, humanity's accountability becomes paramount. If you allow our own artificial lights to overwhelm the natural splendor of the cosmos, what does that say about the legacy you are leaving? This dilemma is one that affects everyone, from professional scientists to each of us in our day-to-day lives. You see, ethics is not merely some abstract concept. It serves as the essential moral compass that directs the choices we make. When applied to astronomy and the preservation of the night sky, it becomes a foundational issue. Should you not consider the sky a shared heritage that deserves protection? For millennia, the stars have been our constant companions, and their absence would signify not just a loss of beauty, but a severing of our connection to the universe itself.
The ethical duty to preserve the night sky is ultimately a call to action that challenges you to consider how your choices affect the world inherited by future generations. The stars are far more than just celestial objects. They represent a legacy of wonder, a source of inspiration, and a testament to human curiosity. By protecting the night sky, you are in fact preserving an essential part of our collective human experience. When you think about light pollution, who truly bears the responsibility? Every time you switch on an unnecessary light, you contribute to a phenomenon that not only hinders our ability to see the stars, but also harms ecosystems that rely on natural darkness. Sea turtles, for instance, depend on moonlight to navigate to the ocean. If the stars no longer illuminate their path, how can you possibly justify our collective inaction? Modern technological progress has given us the ability to illuminate our world in ways once thought impossible. But you have to ask, at what cost has this convenience come? Has the desire for light in every corner led us to neglect the majesty of the night sky? The core question is whether sacrificing the splendor of the heavens is a worthwhile trade for a little extra manufactured light. Reflecting on this can guide us toward a healthier balance between advancement and preservation. Scientific ethics also extends to the dissemination of knowledge. When scientists achieve new breakthroughs, they have a duty not only to share their findings, but also to educate the public on the potential impact of these discoveries. As science advances at an incredible pace, who is responsible for teaching people about the critical need to protect the night sky? Every choice you make today shapes the future. If you continue to overlook the imperative to care for our environment, what explanation will you offer to subsequent generations? Picture a world where stars are nothing but a faint memory, a myth recounted to children in tales of a bygone era. Is that really the legacy you want to leave? The ethics of science demands that we take action now, because debates about moral responsibility should not be confined to research labs. Preserving the sky is an area where every single one of us can contribute. At the heart of this discussion lies the principle of intergenerational justice. When you choose to ignore light pollution today, you are directly impacting those who will come after you. Is it fair that our self-centered decisions deny future generations the chance to experience a sky full of stars? Considering this question is vital if we hope to shift our collective perspective and behavior. The emotional bond you feel with the stars is undeniable. Since ancient times, they have served as a wellspring of inspiration, a source of guidance, and an object of profound wonder. If that connection is lost, what will be left to fill its place? The ethics of science prompts you to think about the deep emotional toll of losing our natural environment. Because stars are more than just points of light. They are symbols of what it means to be human. While initiatives aimed at reducing light pollution are a positive step, you have to ask if they are truly sufficient.
Ethics requires that we not only devise practical solutions, but also foster a cultural transformation in how we perceive the sky. Education is paramount in this endeavor. By teaching children to value the night sky, you plant the seeds for a more conscious and enlightened future, one where the cosmos is celebrated not just as a spectacle, but as a cherished heritage to be protected.
What if I were to tell you that the very sky you cherish and gaze at is in peril? A consequence of our technological progress, light pollution is steadily erasing the stars from our nightscape. The crucial question is, what can we do to reverse this trend? Let's delve into the solutions and initiatives designed to combat this issue, ensuring the splendor of the night sky endures for generations to come. It's essential to grasp that light pollution's impact extends far beyond just obscuring our view of the cosmos. It has severe repercussions for wildlife and entire ecosystems. Picture a nocturnal hunter like an owl, its instincts tuned to moonlight, becoming utterly disoriented by the glare of urban lights. This confusion disrupts its natural cycles of hunting and reproduction, which in turn upsets the delicate balance of its environment, raising the question of how we can restore harmony between our technology and the natural world. One of the most promising avenues lies in adopting smarter, more efficient lighting technologies. For instance, modern LED streetlights can be programmed to dim during off-peak hours, when intense illumination isn't necessary. Much like you would lower the volume on a stereo to create a certain mood, we can regulate artificial light to suit our actual needs. Envision a future where our cities are illuminated appropriately, casting a gentle glow that allows the stars to reclaim their rightful place in the night. Education is another powerful tool in this effort. By instructing younger generations on the significance of the stars and the detrimental effects of light pollution, we can inspire them to become dedicated champions for a clearer sky. Communities can also foster this connection by organizing dark sky events, where municipal lights are temporarily dimmed to encourage public stargazing. It's an opportunity to gather with friends and family, making the cosmos the main event and creating shared memories under a brilliant canopy of stars. Establishing protected dark sky preserves is another vital strategy. These designated areas, situated far from urban glow, serve as sanctuaries for both professional astronomers and amateur enthusiasts, offering a pristine window into the universe. Alongside this, advocating for policies that curb excessive illumination is critical. When cities commit to more responsible lighting ordinances, the collective impact can dramatically decrease light pollution, functioning like a shared social contract to recycle or conserve water. Corporations also hold significant influence in this battle, particularly by designing environmentally conscious products and championing sustainable lighting solutions. Modern technology can be a powerful ally as well. Mobile apps that pinpoint optimal stargazing locations and provide interactive celestial maps can motivate more people to step outside and reconnect with the heavens. These tools can transform a simple evening of observation into an exciting journey of cosmic exploration. Since light pollution is a global problem that respects no borders, international cooperation is absolutely essential. A unified effort among nations could create a powerful, worldwide movement dedicated to protecting the shared heritage of our night sky. Yet we must also recognize the power of individual contributions. Every seemingly small choice, from switching off a light in an empty room to picking a remote campsite, adds up to create a significant impact. Safeguarding the night sky demands both dedication and effort, but its rewards are immeasurable. Through a combination of education, technology, and collaboration, we can work towards a future where the stars remain a brilliant guide for dreamers and a source of wonder for all. The responsibility falls to us to make conscious choices now,
ensuring that those who come after us can also experience the profound beauty of the cosmos. Ultimately, the future of the night sky rests in our collective hands.
Have you ever stopped to consider how much of our understanding of the universe hinges on our simple ability to look up? Astronomy is more than just a captivating field of study. It is our primary means of peering into the unknown and grasping our own place within the vastness of space. To protect this vital connection, it is imperative that we encourage new generations to engage with celestial science. So, what methods can we use to ignite a lasting interest in astronomy? Learning about the cosmos is fundamentally a journey that starts with pure curiosity, not just the memorization of facts about planets and galaxies. Picture a child captivated by the sheer multitude of stars on a clear night. That initial moment of awe can be the very beginning of a lifelong passion for science. To nurture this budding interest, direct, hands-on experiences like visiting a planetarium or an observatory are incredibly effective, while modern digital resources also offer powerful tools for astronomical education. With today's technological progress, students have access to applications that simulate the night sky, allowing you to identify planets and constellations just by aiming your phone upwards. It's an incredible development, isn't it? These resources transform science into an interactive and readily available subject, fundamentally altering how young people connect with the cosmos. The question remains, however, are they truly capitalizing on all these educational possibilities? Schools hold a crucial position in the advocacy of astronomy. By embedding astronomical subjects into the standard curriculum, you can ignite inspiration in students from their earliest years. Science classes can move beyond the confines of textbooks to include hands-on research projects focused on space. Imagine students constructing their own telescopes or crafting detailed models of the solar system. Such activities teach core scientific principles while also cultivating practical abilities and collaborative skills. Partnerships between academic institutions and scientific bodies are also essential. Initiatives like an annual Astronomy Day or community-wide nighttime viewing events can unite people from all walks of life. When you organize gatherings where astronomy specialists can share their expertise, you foster an environment of collective discovery that can be deeply motivating. Picture a group of teenagers completely absorbed as an astronomer explains the nature of black holes and distant exoplanets. A connection like that could truly redefine the trajectory of their lives. Integrating astronomy into extracurricular programs, such as science clubs, offers another excellent avenue for nurturing interest. These clubs can serve as a space where students are free to follow their curiosity without the weight of academic evaluations. Through a variety of projects, guest lectures, and field trips, young people can uncover the pure enjoyment of investigating the universe. The skills they can develop in these settings are vast, ranging from critical thinking to unbridled creativity. We also shouldn't overlook the significance of storytelling within education. The field of astronomy is rich with captivating tales, from how ancient mariners navigated by the stars to the diverse ways cultures have interpreted the heavens in their myths. Weaving these narratives into lessons can make the learning process far more compelling and lasting. After all, who wouldn't be fascinated by the story of how the very constellations you see today came to be recognized? Social media can serve as a potent ally in bringing astronomy to a wider audience, as viral videos about space have already proven. Young people dedicate countless hours to these digital platforms. If you harness these channels to distribute educational material about the sky, you can engage a broad and receptive audience. By producing content that is visually stunning, you have the power to ignite a passion for science in a new generation. Science and technology fairs present another wonderful chance for students to display their astronomical endeavors. In presenting their research and findings, they not only reinforce their own learning, but also serve as an inspiration to others. It's entirely possible that an astrobiology project at a school fair could be the spark that leads a student to pursue a future as an astrophysicist. Inspiration truly can emerge from the most unexpected of places. A connection with the natural world is also profoundly important. Spending time outdoors, far from the glare of city lights, can be a genuinely transformative experience for you. To simply observe the star-filled sky without any distractions can instill a feeling of being part of something immeasurably vast. The influence of such moments on one's worldview and scientific interest is clear. It allows for a much deeper comprehension of the universe's magnificence. As we advance into a future where technology is constantly evolving, it's vital that we don't lose sight of how crucial astronomy education is. The great challenges that lie ahead, such as the quest for life on other planets or the effort to understand cosmic phenomena, will demand sharp and inquisitive minds. The way you ensure we are equipping the next generation for these challenges is through an unwavering commitment to both learning and inspiring young people to explore the cosmos. Ultimately, by cultivating a culture of scientific inquiry, you are also constructing a more promising future. The stars have forever been a wellspring of inspiration for humanity. If you can successfully pass this passion for the sky on to new generations, we might one day witness these same young people become the scientists and explorers who unravel the universe's greatest mysteries. Education in astronomy is not merely about accumulating knowledge. It is a direct investment in the future of our species. What if, in some distant future, the civilization on our planet were to gaze at the sky and see nothing but an immense dark void? The notion of a world without stars may sound like something from a science fiction story. However, contemplating this possibility brings up fascinating questions about how humanity would adapt to such a dramatically different reality. Consider a scenario where the stars, those tiny points of light that once guided sailors and stirred poets, no longer illuminate the night. For millennia, humans have depended on the light of the stars. But if they were to vanish tomorrow, how would our ways of life and our technologies shift? Without that celestial map overhead, navigation would become a significantly greater challenge. While compasses and maps would remain, the romance of using the sky as a guide would disappear forever. Would future civilizations simply rely on modern systems like global positioning, or would they be driven to reinvent ancient methods of finding their way? Furthermore, you have to wonder how this would impact our relationship with the cosmos. Throughout our history, looking at the stars has been a way to contemplate our place in the universe. Lacking this celestial mirror, would we also lose the innate curiosity that has propelled us to explore beyond our world? It's plausible that future civilizations would formulate entirely new philosophies, attempting to find meaning in their existence without the heavenly guidance the constellations once provided. The sheer absence of stars could even inspire a novel form of spirituality, where the emptiness of the sky becomes a powerful symbol for introspection and self-realization. New technologies would undoubtedly play a pivotal role in this altered world as well. Deprived of the natural glow of the stars, you might witness a surge in research dedicated to developing innovative methods of energy production and communication to compensate for the profound darkness. Consider a world where the quest for new energy sources becomes paramount, perhaps fueling innovations in nuclear fusion and solar power beyond anything you could currently conceive. Future societies might even construct artificial firmaments, projecting simulations of stars onto their skies to uphold a vital connection with the cosmos. At the same time, culture would undergo a profound transformation. The stories and legends passed down through generations, all inspired by the stars and their patterns, would have to evolve. Without these celestial myths, literature and art might turn to entirely new wells of inspiration, with artists beginning to explore themes of darkness, emptiness, and the challenge of finding beauty in the unknown.
This shift could easily ignite a completely new artistic movement. Education would also be forced to adapt. Without stars to observe, how could you possibly teach astronomy to the coming generations? It's likely that new fields of study would emerge, merging science with philosophy in an effort to comprehend the universe through the prism of humanity itself. Classrooms might fill with intense debates about existence and consciousness, rather than concentrating purely on the mechanics of celestial bodies. In this starless future, humanity could also discover inventive ways to connect and cooperate, united by a shared purpose in the darkness. The absence of starlight might forge a deeper bond among people, uniting different cultures in a common aspiration to explore what lies beyond their world. Yet, not all outcomes would be so positive. The loss of the stars could trigger a pervasive sense of bereavement. Humans possess an intrinsic link to the cosmos, and its disappearance could create an emotional vacuum that civilizations would be forced to address. To overcome this collective sorrow, they might invent new rituals or festivals designed to celebrate the darkness, seeking solace and hope in the strength of their community. Science itself would also be redefined. Deprived of the ability to observe stars, astronomers of the future would have to fundamentally reconsider their theories about the universe, turning research on galactic formation and cosmic expansion into a more philosophical endeavor. Instead of gazing at the heavens, they might investigate the very nature of existence and perception, effectively becoming philosophers of the cosmos who seek answers to questions once settled by direct observation. Technology would certainly continue to advance, but perhaps in unforeseen directions, driven by a new imperative. The search for a new home on other planets could intensify, fueled by the desperate need to find a place where stars still illuminate the sky. Spaceships might be viewed as modern-day arks, and the ambition to colonize other worlds could become humanity's top priority. In adapting to this new reality, future civilizations might learn to look for the light that resides within themselves. The lack of a starry canopy could spark a renaissance of human creativity, where every person becomes their own source of inspiration, turning the darkness not into an end, but into a new beginning. The entire history of humanity is woven with starlight, but the crucial question is how that history would be rewritten in a world where the sky has fallen dark. The answer could prove to be as stunning and beautiful as the constellations you once admired. When you delve into this thought experiment, a vast horizon of possibilities opens up, reminding you that even in the most profound blackness, there is always space for creativity and hope. For as long as we have existed, stars have been an essential part of our lives, and to truly grasp what it would mean to live without them is to understand that their absence would alter not just our landscape, but our very essence. As you reflect on this, it's vital to ask what role the stars truly play in our collective identity and our bond with the universe. They have always served as beacons for humanity. Since the dawn of time, our ancestors gazed upward for guidance, inspiration, and answers. What would our history become without these brilliant points of light that have accompanied us for millennia? The disappearance of stars would mean a radical shift in our cultural narrative, as the mythologies, heroic tales, and divine stories centered on them would simply vanish. Without the celestial glow that embellishes our legends, what would become of our traditions? The night sky has long been a sanctuary for dreams and a constant reminder that something greater than ourselves exists. Without it, where would you turn for comfort in the face of cosmic vastness? Contemplating the heavens has fueled the minds of poets, artists, and scientists throughout history. But without stars, what would happen to our creative spark? Would you continue to probe the depths of the universe? Or would you become lost in the darkness of your own existence? Stars also functioned as the first compasses for mariners, and without them, the art of navigation would be irrevocably changed. Imagine a world where ships can no longer chart their course by the constellations, putting maritime exploration at grave risk. This lack of guidance could confine us not only physically but also spiritually, potentially extinguishing our innate curiosity to discover new lands and cultures. In a world without stars, science would also be deeply impacted, and the field of astronomy as you know it would be profoundly transformed. What would happen to our understanding of the cosmos and our place within it? Without a star-filled sky, many scientific theories might never have been conceived, interrupting the search for answers about our origins and our ultimate destiny. Could you continue to dream of exploring other worlds if you couldn't even see the one immediately surrounding you? The emotional connection you feel with the night sky extends far beyond science. The stars provide a sense of belonging, a quiet reassurance that you are part of something immense and magnificent. Without their constant presence, our collective psyche could begin to fracture, and our very sense of community could be jeopardized, leaving us to navigate an entirely new kind of darkness. Without the distant lights that assure us we are not alone, how would you find solace in the vast emptiness of the universe? This question introduces the moral dimension of our connection to the cosmos. It forces us to ask what duty we have to safeguard the nocturnal canvas for the generations that will follow ours. Contemplating the significance of the stars is more than just a philosophical diversion. It's an urgent summons to action. If you truly grasp what is at stake, perhaps that realization will compel you to help safeguard what remains. In this endeavor, education has a pivotal role to play. How can we possibly convey the marvels of the cosmos to young people if their sky is utterly blank and devoid of inspiration? The story of the stars is, in essence, the story of humankind itself. So shouldn't we feel an obligation to uphold that ancient bond? As you envision a future without stars, it becomes necessary to consider how subsequent civilizations might adjust. Would they invent technologies to substitute for the loss, or would they surrender to an existence cloaked in perpetual darkness? Necessity often serves as the catalyst for innovation, and a world without stars could certainly give rise to some remarkable and unforeseen solutions. However, you must ask yourself if any human-made creation could ever truly satisfy our innate yearning to feel connected to the grander universe. Then you have to consider the very future of astronomy. How would our comprehension of space develop if we lacked a natural sky to observe? This scientific field is fundamentally a quest for answers to our most profound questions, and the vanishing of stars could make it immensely difficult to even formulate them. Would we forfeit our instinct to explore the great unknown? The psychological influence of the night sky should never be overlooked, as the serene beauty it provides directly impacts our emotional well-being. Without it, you might feel a deep void that could escalate into a crisis of our collective identity. How would we possibly handle the profound anxiety brought on by a perpetually dark sky? The connection you experience while looking at the stars is a mirror to your own humanity. Facing the real possibility of a darkened sky demands that we act now. Proposals aimed at diminishing light pollution and protecting what remains of the night are absolutely critical. Protecting the starry sky is a profound legacy, and we must ask what steps we can take to ensure our descendants can also experience its wonder. As this reflection concludes, remember that stars are not simply celestial bodies,
They are potent symbols of hope, dreams, and the unending search for knowledge. Their absence would etch a permanent scar on the human soul, and the decision to prevent that rests in our hands. Ultimately, the light of the stars illuminates our lives as much as it does the night sky. What will you do to ensure that light never goes out?